All right, let's dive into a story that's just dripping with cosmic power and the kind of profound emptiness that can sit right at the heart of it all. We're talking about a universe completely remade by logic, and it's called The Calculus of a Hollow God.
And this right here is the central idea we're going to be unpacking. What happens when you perfect a universe? When you scrub it clean of every last bit of chaos and unpredictability? You might think you'd get a paradise, right? Well, maybe not. Maybe you get something much, much colder. So that leads us to our core mystery for today. How can a being who literally controls an entire universe, the Nomad from the stars, somehow end up trapped? And not just in any prison, but one he built himself. It's a heck of a paradox, so let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, the blueprint. Imagine this being the Nomad, showing up and just deciding that all of this organic chaos has to go. His grand plan? To rewrite reality itself into a perfect logical solution that solves the messy, unpredictable problem of life. And you can really see the before and after here. On one side, you've got the world as it was, all raw, natural energy. Think jagged obsidian peaks, the hot breath of volcanoes. Then look at the result, a world of cold, geometric order. The air doesn't feel alive anymore. Instead, it just hums with the low-frequency vibration of data. Kind of chilling, right? So how did he pull this off with a total architecture of control? He built these massive calculus spires that shoot up into the sky, and their job is to filter the very lifeblood of the universe, this chaotic thing called the Omega effect, and turn it into programmable power. The people? Oh, they're forced to march in perfect sync down these avenues of necessity. Every bit of individual choice, what the text calls the curved lines of whim, is erased and replaced by the straight path of his will. Of course, a system this rigid, this absolute, well, you're going to need enforcers. And for that job, the Nomads summoned three beings right out of the abyss. Think of them as living equations designed for one purpose: to maintain this perfect clockwork hell. And each one has a very specific, very terrifying job. You've got the Obsidian Glider, who hunts down those messy, curved lines of memory, basically erasing the past. Then there's the Erichicum Wizard, who literally harvests the energy from people's despair, turning sorrow into fuel for the system. And finally, Solaris, who brings an icy frost to any heart that even dares to dream. I mean, talk about the perfect tools for crushing the human spirit. And that was the whole point. It wasn't just about control. It was about creating a total, complete pacification, a world where every single problem has been solved, every question answered. And the result? This deep, profound spiritual numbness, like a winter for the soul. And this is where the story really pivots. The system he built is flawless. It's absolute. But it just begs the question, why? What is the point of all this? Why would anyone, even a god, go to such cosmic lengths just to build a perfect cage? You see, this is where we find the real flaw. It's not in the system's logic. That part is perfect. The flaw is in the creator. Turns out, the motivation for building this perfect cage, it's not about creating a better universe. No, it's about hiding from one single nagging memory. This whole setup is what's called the strategic paradox. This entire planetary fortress, this monument to logic, it wasn't actually built to keep enemies out. It was built to wall off a feeling. The memory of the Nomad's own inadequacy, his own smallness. And here he is, the source of that feeling, a figure from the Nomad's past called the Golden Shepherd. This was a man who defeated him once. A man who, and this is so crucial, required no throne. That's the inescapable shadow that haunts this god, even in his own perfect world. Now, if you go to his inner sanctum, you can see how this obsession manifests. And believe me, it is very, very telling. He sits on his throne encased in something called the Armor of Irony. I mean, the name alone tells you everything you need to know about his state of mind, doesn't it? It is a masterstroke of insecurity. So what is he doing? He's essentially cosplaying as his own trauma. Think about that. He is literally wearing the form of his greatest enemy, not as some kind of trophy, but as a desperate, pathetic attempt to control that memory, to scratch an itch that all his logic and power just can't reach. And just look at what he's done to the shepherd symbol. On the left, you see what it originally stood for: heroism, hope. But the nomad took that and twisted it into his own personal emblem of spite. It's not a beacon anymore. It's a weaponized memory that he points right back at himself every single day. So this brings us to the final, tragic proof of the nomad's grand experiment, the ultimate lesson learned from what this story calls the dark apotheosis.
And wow, this lesson is just devastating. First, you learn that pure intellect, yeah, it can conquer worlds, but it cannot recalculate a jealous heart. Second, absolute power is a pretty hollow victory when you're completely trapped by your own misery. And finally, this entire magnificent universe he built, it's nothing more than a cosmic prison built to the exact dimensions of his own wounded ego.
So, in this vast, perfectly ordered universe, with all its synchronized people and gleaming chrome monoliths, there is, in the end, only one true prisoner: the architect himself.
And that just leaves us with one last thing to think about. The nomad proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that absolute logic is a dead end. It's a tomb for the soul. So, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's the key to that tomb?